be back in Austin, Jason.
Yes, it is, man. I like going to a Mexican food restaurant and getting like a gluttonous fat person bowl of chips.
Uh-huh.
I like that.
You were really bent out of shape about the number of tortilla chips that we got at that Mexican food place. And
I wanted to fight him. But then the entree was so damned good. I was like, all right, you get a reprieve, but don't insult me with this paltry amount of chips again.
That and the fact that they had like a salsa bar, but the thing to put the salsa in were like those little ketchup paper cup things from Wendy's.
Yeah.
So it's this minuscule amount of salsa. I'm like, how am I supposed to get any salsa on my chips?
Yeah, it's like I need a ladle.
Yeah.
And like a bowl. I need a bowl of salsa.
A bowl with a straw and a trough with one of those big scoops that I could just shove chips into my face with.
It's you don't understand. Chips and salsa in Texas, that's the first meal.
Yeah.
And then we have another meal that's mostly cheese.
Yes, mostly cheese, meat, and beans.
God, now I'm hungry.
You know, I tell you, last night after I got back to my house, because we got in really, really late.
Did you go to Whataburger?
I went to Whataburger.
I did too.
Yeah, and then after I got done eating Whataburger, I was like, you know, I really wasn't even hungry. I just really wanted to eat some Whataburger because it was Friday night at 2 a.m. And that's what I do on Friday nights at 2 a.m. is eat Whataburger.
What did you have? Did you have the Monterey? Because the Monterey is damn good.
No, I fell back to that Chop House Cheddar Burger. I love me
it's a good one.
Chop House Cheddar. So
yeah.
But hey, welcome everybody to Rage Select. I'm Jeff.
I'm Jason.
And we're going to try to wrap up our Day 3 E3 coverage a little bit late because we had to go get way too drunk and I had to make a dick out of myself to some of our fans. Or
no, you didn't.
Minor dick. I mean, you know, it's just the drunk equivalent of throwing down the mic and then walking off stage because I just kind of threw the mic down and then walked away from our group.
Well, you know what? I don't remember it, so it didn't happen.
Well, but then, you know, yesterday when I started questioning you about what you did remember, you seemed to, like, I was like, when exactly did you check out? And it seemed like it was kind of still right in the middle of when things were happening. But I tell you what, we'll save the bar discussion for our upcoming email show. Let's just get back into the games. So I think I have a few more than you do right now, so I'm going to go first and say that I got a chance to see the new Killzone game, which
yay!
Yeah, I've been really kind of, you know, I'm not a huge fan of Killzone as a series. I've played them all. I've beaten them all, actually.
Okay.
But it always just seems kind of like the space Nazi thing always didn't seem real compelling. But you know what? This actually seems a little bit more compelling. It was a guided demo that they had, and it was interesting because it seemed like it was less of a, like, because most of the Killzone games seem to take place in the middle of a giant war. Like, you're having a war with the Hellgast on some planet, and
well, what do you want? You know, the Killzone games, this one is now, they're stuck in traffic.
Well, this one actually seems like it's more like a black operator kind of thing, like a single agent kind of doing stuff. Because the demo they showed was, they showed a little bit of it in one of the press conferences. I'm pretty sure the Sony press conference, but, it had, you know, it had this feeling of being not in the middle of a city that's already been blown to shit, which is good because I'm kind of tired of doing missions in a city that's all rubbled up and shit. Like, I have a feeling.
They never sent me any place nice to kill space Nazis.
I just have a feeling somewhere in the video game industry, there's some third party, like, engine developer that's like, oh, we'll make you a ruined city. Tomorrow. We'll just put the parameters into our ruined city generator and then we'll just, like, crap out a new ruined city.
Yeah.
Say, who needs one of these? Killzone? You need one? Gears? You need one? Resistance? Do you need one? An old one? Okay, we can give you an old one. So this actually took place in the middle of a jungle, and it was about like this operative trying to rescue like these guys that had crashed in a shuttle. And it was pretty cool because it seemed to have this one mechanic where you have this little robot called the Owl, and that was an acronym for something. And I asked the guy, I said, what's OWL stand for? And he was like, we've got a few things. And it was like, oh, good.
Did it look like Boopo from Clash of the Titans?
No. It's brilliant. It's just like a little flying saucer thing. But the one thing that was pretty cool about it is that any area like that you're in the world, any traversal place where you're like more than, I think they said like 30 meters up, and you're jumping down to a place, you can hold down a button and this little thing automatically makes a zip line. Like you may have seen in that video, like going down a zip line and then shooting a guy or stabbing a guy. Well, apparently if you're anywhere high up in the game and you jump down and you hold down like the L1 button, it'll automatically make a zip line between you and whatever's down on the ground, which is pretty cool.
That's cool. Okay.
You could also use this little thing to like pop a shield, or you can like send it out to scan for enemies and you can see them through the terrain. It seems pretty cool. And then they also had this gun, like the main gun that the main character had was a submachine gun, but he could like pull the barrel out and it would become a high-powered sniper rifle. So you could pick up other people's guns, but you always had this kind of like multi-purpose gun. And a lot of it seemed to be engaging like these little pockets of, I'm pretty sure they were Hellgas. I didn't get a good look at them because they were just mowing them down, but like little pockets of them. And it seems like there's a lot more options to start by being sneaky, like sneaking up on guys and stabbing them and stuff like that. Then, of course, everything would go to hell and it'd be like, the alarms go off and dudes start coming from everywhere. In fact, there was one part where there was a drop ship that was coming, that was dropping guys off, and the guy that was leading the demo said, if you don't go hack the alarm to turn the alarm off here, you will just continually get guys coming forever. So,
see, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I hate finite guys. I like being able to kill everyone, and then it's like, okay, well, let's see what they've got in the fridge.
Kill them and take their shit. Is it
yes.
The Murphy family crest. It just says it around the sides.
Yeah. I like being, because I'm a completist and I hate leaving someone standing.
Uh-huh.
So I like murdering them all and then take my time, see what's going on, maybe see what they've got on the DVR, what's in the fridge, hang out a little bit. When they just keep pumping infinite guys at you, that annoys the hell out of me.
I just have this mental image. I just got done. I finally had a chance to catch up on the last episode of Game of Thrones. Now I have this idea for.
Don't you spoil it, motherfucker.
I wouldn't do that. I'm not a complete dickweed. Come on. No, just House Murphy with, kill them and take their shit. Like,
yes.
But
and our logo is, a werewolf with a bottle of scotch.
Mm-hmm. You might get confused with the Starks, but I don't know. We can work it
out.
out.
Yeah. They've got wolves too.
Yeah. Anyway, Killzone Shadowfell, I mean, all I saw was this little outside, jungle area, but it takes place, apparently, according to the Wikipedia page, takes place 30 years after Killzone 3, which hopefully means that it's a little bit, that it has a better story than like, we're all at war! Everybody's fighting everybody! Just, Johnson, take the carrier and go over here and blah, 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 blah. So, I don't know,
You would make the worst commander.
Yeah. Well, that's what I do on the voice comms, which is why they should hire us to do the E3 demos. I could be like, Jason, get your head at it. Stop teabagging him, Jason.
Negative, Commander.
God damn it. All right. Well, I tell you what, from there, why don't we go to one of the ones that you saw? Something that I'm so angry that you got to do the Bethesda booth this year.
That was the best.
So angry. And you got
it was the best.
And it was on the end of the last day, you got to finally learn the beauty and wonder of making an appointment for a booth and then going over there and not having to wait in line forever.
Oh, man, that's the way to do it. That's the high life right there. Should I dive in?
Go for it, man.
All right, so go up to the Bethesda booth, and they had, like, this giant, like, metal dog thing from Wolfenstein. And
oh, yeah,
that was
I saw
cool.
that. It was like a quadrupedal mech tank
exactly
thing, yeah.
Yeah, and there was big Wolfenstein banners, and then a giant, like almost like an Ouroboros thing from Elder Scrolls Online, with like the 3 dragons eating each other's tails. Mm-hmm. Sexy. Yeah. But go ahead and I go in, and we sit down in this theater, and this was by far the best appointment of the 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
It was great because they were just all very down to earth, and they showed you a lot, and then they let you play the stuff for like 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm jumping ahead. So yeah, I'm sitting there and they're like, okay, The Evil Within. I didn't know anything about this game.
This is the latest Shinji Mikami joint.
Shinji Mikami, that's right. And who walks out to introduce it? None other than Shinji Mikami.
You fucking son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Did you get his autograph for me?
I did not.
Did you smell him? What did he smell like?
I was afraid if I approached him that the alarms from Silent Hill would start going off or something. But yeah, he comes out and he says, this is a true survival horror game, no stupid quick time events.
Ooh.
And yeah, he really revealed his thoughts on the whole thing.
Wait, Shinji Mikami was like the action director for Resident Evil 4, which, along with God of War, was one of the two games that brought quick time events
It's true.
into
It's
our
true.
lives for like 10 years.
Yeah, it's
Just
true.
stand up and go, fuck you, Mikami, you did that.
Maybe he realized the error of his ways, but he was very animated, very excited, and maybe a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he comes out and he describes it, and then we get to see someone playing a live demo of like the prologue and then later in the game. And it was this guy, this detective, what was his name? Sebastian Castellaneta or something like that. Castellano. Anyway, yeah, really good looking game.
Mm-hmm. What was it? Do you know what they were playing it on?
I don't.
Okay. Cause
I do not.
I mean, it's like current generation Windows, PlayStation 3, 360, but also PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, it looked good, but it didn't really look next gen. It didn't look much better than, say, Resident Evil 6,
Mm-hmm.
And, it played very much like, Res 4.
Okay.
Where it did feel like, less of an action game. It was survival horror, so you didn't have a lot of weapons. You didn't move real quickly. You weren't an acrobat. But it has this, guy going up to this, he gets a call. He's a detective, right? He gets a call and he and his team go up to this, mental asylum. And the mental asylum is surrounded by cop cars and everything, and everyone's gone. There's nobody out there. Mm-hmm. So you go into the mental asylum and you're looking around and there's just blood everywhere. I mean, it's the slaughterhouse.
Okay.
Shit went down. That's what I'm saying.
Like in a mental asylum, right? They just leave the blood on the walls and stuff.
Clearly.
Calms the patients down most of the
Exactly.
time.
Yeah. That's the only thing. Sometimes you gotta throw a little blood around.
Sure.
But so they come in and, they go into the like security room, and there are monitors everywhere, and they see a video of this ghostly hooded character just murdering the shit out of security guards who are just filling him full of bullets but not slowing him down. Mm-hmm. And once he's done with them, he pulls that trick of looking up at the camera. He's looking through the monitor that you're watching on, and he looks directly at you. And then, oh my gosh, he's in the room and you're unconscious.
Oh God! No!
Yeah, dun dun dun! And then you find yourself hanging upside down, and there is a Leatherface character. Mm-hmm. Who is treating human bodies like sides of beef and cutting them up and everything. And you spend the rest of the time trying to get away from him. And it was really tense, It was what you would expect from a scene like this in a slightly older Resident Evil game or Silent Hill or something like that. In that you're wounded, you're limping along, you're not moving very quickly, and you're going down a discrete path while there's a guy right on your ass.
I like the fact that it sounds like this brand new franchise is basically Shinji Mikami giving Capcom the giant middle finger.
Yeah.
No, this is how you do it. Quit.
Yeah.
That is not the way to do it. This is how you do it.
Very much so. Yeah. And it looks cool. It looked fun, It wasn't, I mean, the graphics are what they are. They were good, but they didn't, there wasn't anything where I was like, wow, this is the new way that survival horror is. It was more of a return, and yeah, they showed us a little bit more, but that was the gist of it. And it was, yeah, it played like survival horror games used to play,
Are you excited for it?
I'm looking forward to it. Yes.
Okay.
I'm not like terribly excited about it because it wasn't the new hotness,
yeah.
But it did look like something good, and it was Shinji Mikami. Yeah, basically getting back to what survival horror is and saying, like you said, no, this is how you do it.
Okay.
And then after that, we had, the team from Wolfenstein come out. They showed us, some gameplay. Showed us a scene that was very Inglourious Bastards, and they are Nazis. Mm-hmm. Swastikas and everything.
Is it okay? I don't give a shit. I mean, if it's a Wolfenstein game, in my mind, of course they're Nazis.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, what Wolfenstein is. But what I want to know is, are you playing as BJ Blazkowicz?
Damn right you are. Yeah,
Excellent.
lantern-jawed, manly man.
Do you
Hell
want to
yeah.
try without looking it up to spell Blazkowicz for me?
No. But yeah, they took BJ and, you know, turned him into, you know, he's still this, like, you know, man of iron, you know, lantern-jawed hero. And they gave him kind of a sardonic sense of humor. And you've got this ally with you throughout the game. I think her name was Allie. And she is she's kind of your foil, helping you out through the thing. And in the scene that we were shown, you're on a train.
Mm-hmm.
And you are getting some coffee in this one carriage, and in walks this evil Nazi officer, a female, can't remember her name.
Ilsa.
Probably. Probably. And she's with her feminine boy toy.
Okay.
Who fawns all over her, and, you know, very weird and sexual because she's kind of creepy and old, and he's just really effete. And she stops you and sits you down
Wait, she stops you from getting coffee?
No, as you're getting coffee. Oh, and she also has a giant killer mech with her.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, because the
That's
old
important.
lady and the effete, like, pretty boy.
Yeah. Oh, did I forget the giant killer robot?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I was like, did BJ Blazkowicz, did something happen to him? Is he having a difficult time
Yeah.
taking on the old lady and, like, the ladyboy tequila slave?
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely a ladyboy tequila slave. And, no, she stops you. She tells you to have a seat. And she sits a gun down right by you. She said, if you reach for the gun, you won't live to regret it. You know, and she pulls out these photographs and she says, this is how I'm able to determine if you're a real Aryan or not. And she puts two pictures at a time out. It's like, here's a picture of a spider. Here's a picture of some skulls. Which one disgusts you the most? And then she just keeps putting all these pictures out, and you have to pick the right one, and apparently if you pick the wrong one, she shoots you in the head because you're not an Aryan.
What?
Yeah.
What?
She's like giving you this psychological profile test. It really felt like something out of Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, you're talking about like the Jew hunter scenes from Inglourious Bastards. Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so after a minute, she lets you up. And this wasn't even really, this was gameplay, but it was really just kind of more of a scripted sequence. Mm-hmm. And then after that, they said, they didn't really show you much gameplay. Well, no, they showed a little bit of gameplay of real, like, shooting and jumping around and stuff, but, I'll get to that. And then the head developer for Elder Scrolls Online comes out.
Wait. You're going through all this stuff too fast. All right, let's stick with Wolfenstein, and then let's come back over to me, because I still got like 4 more games. If we do this, then I'm just going to be talking for like the next 40 minutes straight.
Okay. So I'll get to so later they let us out. Mm-hmm. And, they're like, hey, here's Wolfenstein. Play it as much as you want.
Yeah? And how was it?
It's, you know, it looks good. It's crisp and clean. Nothing too dramatic. It was running on a PC.
Okay. What were you playing it with a gamepad of any kind?
Was playing it with it was Xbox 360 gamepad.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was fun. In the level that I was in, you are stuck in all this rubble and trying to make your way to this reception center, like in a museum or something like that. And you were running into the occasional Nazis. Something had gone horribly wrong, and they were all hurt and everything. And you're just switching between your, you know, pretty standard weapons, but they were Wolfenstein weapons, but they weren't the outrageous ones, unfortunately.
It probably bears noting that, I mean, as near as I can tell, correct me if I'm wrong, right? This takes place after the Nazis have won.
Yes.
They've taken over. So you're like...
Although that wasn't clear in anything in the gameplay.
Really?
That was in just some of the trailers they were playing out on the show floor.
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah, like the Nazis, they landed on the moon, you know, and all that. So the Nazis run everything. And you're kind of a Captain America man out of time. So like...
Were you frozen in a giant block of ice?
Basically, yeah. So I don't even know what, they didn't go into what happened there. But BJ has awakened and, oh shit, the Nazis won, blah, blah, blah. Let's go kick some ass. Yeah. So yeah, it looked good. It looked fun. It didn't look like anything special, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'll play it, but it's not going to be anything novel or new. It looks like a pretty standard FPS. So yeah, I don't know. It's Wolfenstein. Let me put it this way. It's exactly what you would expect from a Wolfenstein sequel.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about this.
But the guys behind it, I'm sorry, some of them are, I can't remember, the studio.
Mm-hmm.
It's Bethesda, right? The publishing it.
Machine Games.
Machine Games, who it has a bunch of people from Starbreeze on the team.
I was just seeing that. No, but what I was going to say was that it's funny because there was a time with video games where I was really tired of shooting Nazis in the face. And then we had this very long hiatus, and then Sniper Elite V2 came out, and I was like, oh yeah, Nazis are great to shoot in the face.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to feel bad about it at all. You're just like, screw you, Nazi scum. So I don't know. I mean, Wolfenstein, I've never had a bad time playing a Wolfenstein game.
Right.
I can honestly say that it seems like they've been trying to, like, recapture the Wolfenstein as like a brand name in the FPS domain. And I don't think they've done it yet. Of course, that last Wolfenstein game that came out, the one, what was it? What was it called? Was it?
It was Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Was it Return? No. It was just called Wolfenstein. Came out in 2009. That had a lot of magic stuff. Yeah, it was an Activision. It was, Raven Software did it, and Activision put it out. It's kind of slightly open worldy, but it had a lot more focus on the occult.
Wow, I completely missed that.
That was fun. I mean, it wasn't anything to write home about, but they had this, like I said, they had a little bit of open worldiness, and it was pretty fun. I mean, it did all right. So I think that, it's most of the Wolfenstein games that I played have been solid video games. So it's the sort of thing where if you're looking for the best of the best to knock your socks off, Wolfenstein generally not that. But
right.
If you just want to shoot some, well, I guess they're space Nazis now. I was going to say like magic Nazis or skull-headed dudes and stuff.
Yeah, this didn't, and we didn't see any of that, but there wasn't really a lot of, because a lot of it is kind of Hellboyish.
Yeah.
In some of the previous ones.
Mm-hmm.
This really didn't seem to be any of that. Not that we saw in what limited stuff that we were able to get a look at and get our hands on.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, you've rolled through so much, you've only got one game left. I'm going to go ahead and talk about a couple other things, and we'll get back to you, and then we'll come back to me. Which actually, I got to see something that I didn't think I was going to get to see, which is Battlefield 4. But I went over to
you bastard.
I know. It's like opposite day here on Rage Select. Like I got to see all the stuff you wanted to, and you got to see all the stuff that I wanted to. But if you don't even tease me again about seeing Metal Gear Solid 5 and not telling me about it.
I kept trying to come up with
I wouldn't believe you. I'd be like, that's not true.
That's impossible. Then when we talked about this before, we were saying Jeff would grab my hands and like smell them and go, "You're lying. You did not play any sort of Metal Gear, heretic."
I don't smell any stealth on your hands at all.
Yeah.
But actually, just as a side note, folks, I mean, I went over and asked them until it seemed like they're probably totally sick of me. But unless you were like working at IGN, I don't think there was any. There might have been a conference room somewhere with no logo on the door where you had a secret knock, and
there were quite a few of those, to be honest.
They opened up the little speakeasy thing and said, "What's the password?" And you're like, just Kojima is a living god, and they're like, all right, and they let you in. And but there was no way to play Metal Gear Solid 5 on the show floor. Believe me, I looked. But enough of that. Let's get back. Over at the Xbox One booth, there was a Battlefield 4 thing, and the first day that we went over there, it was just a little closed door, the same kind of demo we've been talking about, and it wasn't. There was a big long line, and then I went over there, and there was no line, and I asked the guy at the front, I was like, how long until the next one starts up? And he's like, 15 minutes. I'm like, I'll stay in line. which actually is a very brief aside. While I was standing in line, some jerk off, and I'm not going to say that everybody that was at E3 is a jerk off, but I'm not going to say that everybody that was at E3 was not a jerk off. This guy was in line. He turns to me, he's like, "Hey man, where's the best swag?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck you, buddy. Like, I'm not here for t-shirts and puzzles." And, you know, he was like, "Oh yeah, I heard that over, at one of the booths they were giving out PC processors. But they had a really limited number, and over at the Nvidia booth, I'll come back to the Nvidia booth later on, but over at the Nvidia booth, they had this thing where if you put on this t-shirt, you stood in front of this AR thing that would look at the t-shirt with the camera, and one of them every day would say winner on it, and the winner would get some Nvidia hardware. They were giving away some video cards and stuff like that. But, you know, like, if you stand in line to get that shit, what you end up with is free stuff for us, and it's much more important, in my mind, to go see all the video games. So I was just like, I don't know, I got a t-shirt from Killzone today, and he was like,
yeah, sure. All I need is more crap.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. What am I going to do with a 1,500 piece Witcher 3 puzzle? Seriously, CD Projekt Red, give me a bottle opener or something that I can use. So anyway, I went into Battlefield 4, and this was actually a single-player demonstration, which we went in there, and the guy came up, and he was like, "All right, everybody, welcome." It was also weird because they didn't have seats. They had, like, these weird padded rails that you could lean up against. And I was just like, oh, come on, man, I want to sit down. But he comes in, and he says, "All right, everybody, when you think of Battlefield, you know, combat and the Battlefield games, what do you think of most?" And nobody was raising their hand, and I was like, "Vehicles." And he's like, "Yes, vehicles. What else do you think about?" And, like, nobody was answering. It was late in the day, and nobody wanted to play along with this thing. And what the answer that he was looking for was...
Dude, I could have certainly played along. Murder!
He'd be like, no. But the answer he was fishing for was destructible environments. And I felt like this was kind of some garbage dick, because they took the destructible environments out of Battlefield 3, and we're all gamers here, so... Like, I wasn't expecting, I mean, I know for the trailer that they were in there, but, you know, last time they took that fun thing away. Anyway, they go into talking about how, talked a little bit about the motion capture, about how they have real actors because they're doing full-on motion capture for all the stuff. They've been talking about how and then they showed the demo that they had on the stage where, they're on the aircraft carrier where all the planes are flying around and sliding off the sides and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah.
And what they were really trying to emphasize, and this is actually probably a really good thing, is that instead of having the kind of like corridor shooting like you saw in Battlefield 3 a little bit more, they want the single player to feel like you're in a big Battlefield style combat arena. So you've got a lot of different options. You can go over here and try to flank those guys. There's one point they showed that the ship was listing, and they shot like these barrels that were by one of the planes, and it blew up the supports for the plane, and then the plane slid down over the guys on the battlefield. They showed, like, on this ship, you could go down into the ship and go through these little corridors, come up the other side, shoot at people. So it looks like they're really trying to open it up a little bit more. I mean, the game, it was running on an Xbox One because I was back in the middle of the Xbox booth. But, it looks like a really good version of Battlefield 3. Really high res, a lot of stuff. It seemed like it was a little bit easier to see people and shoot them than it was in Battlefield 3. I don't know if it was just that one level or what. But it seemed to be really fun. And it's like I know that DICE can make a single player Battlefield that I want to play because I like Bad Company a lot.
Yeah.
But Battlefield 3 was just like
that's the thing. It's that they keep foisting this single player on you, on everybody, especially here at E3, and I just wanted to, well, no, that's not true. They did have multiplayer available, but you had to wait in line for fucking ever. And I wanted to just walk up, to all of this little single player things, and just blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. You guys don't get that yet? Nobody cares.
Yeah, I don't really know how much else I can, really talk to about this because it was kind of a bunch of generic military dudes. Oh wait, afterwards I guess they did have you had to get off this ship that was blowing up, and then you went over and you got in a boat and you were driving the boat around and you're blowing up other boats, and it was pretty cool. The whole thing seems to me, and this seemed to me to be a little bit like what they were trying to do with Battlefield 3, like they're trying to put you into the middle of like a cinema or of a scripted event, like to put you into like one of these big oh shit scripted events that you see in video games, but lets you have a little bit of agency to walk around. And in Battlefield 3, I felt like they tightened the focus, they tightened the levels too much to the point where you really just felt like you were walking through a semi-interactive cutscene. Whereas if they can get, like they had that, what was the Fishing with John or whatever thing that they had, the trailer that they had that was, Fishing in Baku.
Oh yeah.
Where they, like later on in that level where they had like the giant building and there was a big open field and there was like convoys and stuff. So there was a lot of enemies there and it seemed like you had a lot of options as to how exactly you wanted to go about wrecking their shit, as it were. And it seems like they may be focusing more on making sure that you're having a single player experience that is different from Call of Duty, which I think that's the one thing that the Battlefield multiplayer is already very differentiated from Call of Duty. But I think that if they can manage to if they can manage to establish something like Battlefield Bad Company, but in a more serious, like, it's the fate of the free world, only this squad, and we're going to, Bravo Tango to fucking Point Alpha, go, 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 go. You know, that could be really compelling. And from what I've seen so far, it seems like it's compelling. Now, to be very clear, all the footage of Battlefield 3 looked really compelling until we got to play it, and then it was just like, oh,
well, see, I didn't think it was that bad. The single player had a hell of a lot of fun with the multiplayer. Single player, yeah.
One of the other things that I saw here was that that they talked about was that they were attempting to integrate, sighting in Battlefield. How when you're on when you're in multiplayer, you can sight an enemy and then it shows up on the map for everybody.
Yeah.
That you could do that in the single player, and it'll basically, that one mechanic tells your squad, like, attack this guy, and that they're smart enough so that if they showed one piece on the aircraft carrier where they did that, and your guys started laying down cover fire on these dudes, and then the person who was playing it got to kind of flank around the edge of them and shoot them, from the side, which was cool. I mean, it seemed like that's a mechanic that I always thought that Battlefield did really well, was that spotting stuff.
I never used it.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I don't know. AI, I don't trust them. They're just going to fuck it up.
Well, you're a lone wolf.
I do. That's why I'm still stinging from the, removal of Spec Ops from Battlefield 2.
Yeah.
So I was just like, just give me some C4. I'll end this war right now.
Well, us old video game players who aren't, who were playing before multiplayer became a big thing, like all of the old Medal of Honors and Call of Duties and stuff like that. That's very much what those games were, was the single player. It was like, all right, Johnson, get out there and win World War II for us. And you did. So.
I did.
The other thing that he did confirm, which I'm sure has been confirmed a million other places, but hey, some of you guys are good and you're getting all of your E3 news from us here at Rage Select, is that if you have the PC or the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One version, it's 32 on 32.
Oh, so it is on like Xbox One and PS4, 32 on 32?
Yes, as long as you're running.
Sweet.
Yeah, one of the next gen consoles that they're gonna bump it up to, the real Battlefield experience. So, that was great. And then from there, I actually was gonna go see something I'll talk about a little bit later, but I went and checked out the Nvidia Shield. Did you take a look at this thing while you were there?
Did not.
I mean, I was looking at the Nvidia booth and there was a guy that was sitting there playing it. I wasn't sure whether he was he was a booth worker or whether he was like just somebody that was playing it. But this is it looks like an Xbox controller had sex with a DS, kind of. It's like an Xbox controller that has a little LCD screen that flips up, and it's an Android-based gaming console, and that where you can stream like over 802.11. He said it was N. I'm not entirely sure about that. It's 802.11N. You can stream gameplay from your PC to this handheld device. So like what he had was a PC that was running Borderlands 2, like with all the shit jacked up on it. And then you had this handheld unit that had the dual analog sticks and your D-pad and the 4 buttons and the shoulder buttons and all that stuff. Start, select, a couple of Android-specific buttons and like a little kind of like an Xbox guide button on it with a flip-up screen, and you could play Battlefield 2 or Borderlands 2 in just as high a resolution as you could on your PC because it was just streaming the input back and forth from your PC.
That's kind of amazing.
It's a really cool little thing. It operates on its own as an Android device. You can get onto the Android store. You could download Android games on it. You can also use it as a pass-through to your TV. So if you have, like, your PC streaming, if your PC is playing this game and you plug, there's an HDMI port that you can plug the handheld directly into the TV so that you can actually stream the PC game from your PC to this thing to your TV and use it as a controller while you look at the TV and play it up there. That's pretty cool.
The future!
I know, like, it's all pretty goddamn rad. The only things I could tell you that was a little bit disappointing, it does have full Steam support, but it only has support for games on the PC that have native like Xbox controller support, because it's mapping that stuff directly onto an Xbox controller setup. So if the game doesn't have gamepad support, then you're kind of shit out of luck. Also, $349.
Oof.
Which, considering that the PlayStation 4 is going to be $399, that's a lot of cheddar right there for what is essentially a pretty cool little toy. Like, if you get one for, I'm going to say, if I could get one of these for like a couple $100, that's worth it. That's the cost of a portable system, you know, and you screw around with it. And I understand.
But $349, no.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. It's quite a bit of money for something that is kind of, I don't know. It's interesting, but then you also have to consider, like, if you buy one of these things, it's great if you want to buy one of these things and your system is badass and your system is able to run every game at maximum resolution without any slowdown or anything. But what if you've got a shitty PC? Like, you got to crank the resolution down just to make it work on this thing. I don't know. It seems cool. It was also a little bit awkward holding it because the screen, like,
because it's the size of a laptop.
No,
it's like, that's how it does it.
No, it's weird because of the orientation of the screen. Like, if you were to, it's hard to describe, but like, if you were to hold an Xbox controller in your hands, right? You know, where the shoulder buttons, the L and the R buttons are, like, imagine that there was a screen that was just glued onto the back of it. So, like, you're holding the controller and you're looking at the screen seems way far away from you. I mean, I don't know if you could flip it up a little bit higher and just hold it up, but it was a little cumbersome. I don't know. It seems like a cool thing, and I'd like to check one out, and it's the kind of weirdness that I would be into. I can't exactly give it, like, you know, a full rubber stamp of approval, because $349 on top of the fact that you'll also be paying for a PC that can run this and an 802.11n router, you know, if you don't have any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Could be pretty pricey, but that was the Nvidia Shield. And I tell you what, why don't we go back to the last game that you have, end the show with a showstopper, and then I got two more, and then we are done.
All right. So, yes, I mentioned this earlier, but in the Bethesda booth, the third thing that they showed us, I believe it was the head of development came out of Elder Scrolls Online, and he said, hey, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about this. We've got it ready for you to play. Come on out.
And, fucking ass.
Yeah, I was like, and sure enough, they had, they had a lot of Bethesda guys walking around to help you through it, and I was just like, it's just away. I got this. And, you dive right in. They start you off with a level 5 character. It was a truncated version of, the character selection. But it showed you, you had all of your races, Breton, Dark Elf, the Lizard Dudes.
Khajiit?
Khajiit. Yeah. The Khajiit was there, I think. But the only ones you could pick from were like human, or like Redguard, Breton, and Orc. So I didn't look for Khajiit, but I'm almost positive it was there. You can pick from those three, and then, you can pick, from like 3 different classes. Mm-hmm. Like Dragon Knight, Sorcerer, and something else, some other thing, paladin-like thing, I don't remember, fuck. But I picked Dragon Knight, which is basically, a warrior, and you had some magical abilities. And, they essentially took Skyrim and just translated it into an MMO.
Okay, what does that mean?
Well, as far as the gameplay goes, because you level up by essentially just doing stuff, in each of your, that sounds stupid. In each of your abilities, you just keep, like if you're, wearing heavy armor, you're going to get heavy armor, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But then you do have points to, cash in towards different, magical abilities and spells and stuff like that. So it plays, the mechanics of it are a lot like Skyrim.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a series of stupid questions real fast.
Okay.
All right. Did I assume no auto attack, right?
No. Okay. No auto attack. Not that I saw.
Did your abilities have cooldown timers on them?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Did they still take magic? Did they still take, like, mana or something?
I didn't notice any mana, no.
Okay. I'm still a little worried here, but tell me more. Tell me more, Jason.
And it looks, it looks like an MMO. They've pulled it back a little bit farther.
Okay.
The camera.
Graphically? Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, graphically it looks great. Polygons everywhere.
All right.
But they pull the camera back a little bit to where your character isn't quite as prominent on the screen. You are going to be able to switch to first person perspective though.
Okay.
But that was not functional at this time.
Okay.
They said it still needed some work. I started off in Daggerfall, which was from Elder Scrolls 3?
2?
2?
Is Daggerfall.
Yeah.
There's Arena, Daggerfall, Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim.
Yeah. Okay. Well, started off in Daggerfall, and there were some quests, some really organic feeling quests, just running up, like I found a dead this dog that I followed led me to this dead body, and there had been all these murders of, various people, in Daggerfall, and you find this basically a weird little shopping list on this guy. And while you're searching the body, this blood cult assassin dude shows up and you have to take him out. And then you have to go talk to various vendors and they reveal to you that this guy was a spy.
Oh, dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. Yeah. And so I played through some of that quest and then I said, all right, I'm out. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go explore. And so I just ran as far north as I could and just ran through all of these various zones and getting my ass kicked increasingly harder each time. But it looked good. The quest felt organic. There was, voiceover, every time you talked to someone.
Okay. So a full voice.
Full voice. Yep. And, it was fun, but it played like Skyrim in that, Skyrim had that, combination of where it was like half actual arcade combat, half RPG, where it tried to find a good middle ground, but was really not terribly refined.
Mm-hmm.
And this was really kind of the same thing. So it wasn't, it wasn't very satisfying to fans of either side of it, but it was still a hell of a lot of fun because you've got this big immersive world.
Did you quest with anybody else? Did you get in a group or anything? Or
No.
Did you see other people running around doing
Oh yeah. Yeah. There were other people at the, who were, testing it out. They were all running around doing the same thing or other quests within the city. So.
Were there any, dragons?
I didn't run into any dragons. They're probably there, but I didn't run into any. But this is promising. It doesn't come out until, sometime in 2014. Mm-hmm. But it looked like a decent MMO. They were cagey about the pay structure. Mm-hmm. Whether it was going to be a monthly or free to play or what have you.
I'm notoriously bad apparently at making predictions for this stuff, but my mind says, that it'll launch with the standard $60 and then a monthly fee, and then within a year it'll be down to free to play.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but this looks cool. I don't know if I'm going to play it though, because it's an MMO and I ain't got time for that shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, funny thing was though, I heard, while I was sitting there playing, I hear a voice. I'm like, oh, that sounds, and I look over and like, not the next person, but 2 people down was Felicia Day playing it. Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
She was making eyes at me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, she was. She was having trouble playing and I was just like, you just take that shit home with you, harlot. I don't have time for this. I got games to go see. And, she was batting her eye. She was like, finally she's like, she comes up to me and whispers in my ear and she's like, I was hoping you could introduce me to the beard. and I said, oh, you want some of the beard? Well, in that case, I hate to disappoint you, but he's a total dude smooching pole smoker. And she was like, I knew it! And then she went back to her, Elder Scrolls.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That sounds about how that would go down in real life.
Yep.
Oh, fuck you, Jason.
Part of that story was true.
The part where Felicia Day was actually there playing Skyrim?
There was that part.
Or, Elder Scrolls Online?
Yes. And then I made the rest of it up. Except for the part about you being a dude smooching pole smoker.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, you son of a bitch. That actually sounds pretty cool. I still don't know about Elder Scrolls Online. Like, I only got into Elder Scrolls with Skyrim. Like, the last ones, Oblivion pissed me off because it had that dumb level, the level balancing thing where they put everything at your level, so it's always, you can never get too overpowered for the world. And then Morrowind, it was just ugly. Like, I started it, they start you off in this, like, dirt swamp full of, like, poop and mushrooms and stuff, and I was just like, dude, I don't like swamps. I don't want to play this game anymore.
I liked Morrowind a lot, and you get to go to Morrowind here because, they take all of the, classic, Elder Scrolls areas and, put them all together, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious about it. I'm not gonna rave about it just yet because it's like, okay, it's an MMO and as much as I would like to have the time to play something like that, I don't.
Okay. Well, I saw 2 more things and I'm gonna roll them out here real fast and then we will be done. The first was that game Knack, over at the Sony booth. Which, if you've been watching Sony's, especially the PS4 announcement thing and then some of the reveal stuff, they keep trotting this thing out like it's something interesting. And it's basically this little robot or creature. I don't know. It kind of looks like the little demons over on Zero Punctuation. And he's got this power where you can absorb crap that's on the ground and it makes you into a bigger dude and then you can just punch stuff. And when stuff,
so he's like a Katamari dude?
Yeah, actually that's a good definition. It's like the Katamari, well, except that you can't absorb anything. You just absorb these specific places where you'll hit these things and these little bits will pop out and then they'll all just like go up and hook up to you. And it makes you bigger and bigger and bigger. And so there's some levels where like you're the size of a person, and there's even some levels where it's like there's stealth levels where you can hit a button and all the junk drops off of him. He turns invisible. So like there'll be a hallway full of lasers and you have to walk through the lasers, and you can't do that. If you have the stuff on you, it'll zap you. But if you're invisible, you can just walk through and then you can get the stuff back. To be honest, it may just be that I was really tired at the end of the day and I waited in line for like 30 or 40 minutes to see this thing. I was not impressed with this game at fucking all. Like the enemies in the game are all orcs for some reason. Because there's a part that was in a city and there was a part that was in a compound. There was a part that was in like this ice cave. So you have these orcs that are all walking around, and some of them have guns, and some of them have melee weapons, and the controls for it are very kind of like God of War, where the right stick will have you dodge, and then you've got an attack button, you've got a super attack that you've got to get these charges to charge up, you've got a button that lets you just, if you're in the stealth sequences, drop all of the pieces off you, and then you have a jump button. And there's a couple of what look like people following you around, but they didn't have headphones for this, and they didn't have the sound turned up, so I couldn't tell if there was a story. All I know is that the gameplay was incredibly generic.
Yeah, it looked it. I mean, in seeing this, it was very low on my list of things to check out.
I mean, this was very close to the end of the show, and so there wasn't a whole lot. There wasn't a whole lot left. I mean, I had a limited amount of time, and I had to make a decision. I was over at the Sony booth, and I was like, that Knack line looks like I can get through it. I should have gone and looked at something else, Jason. I should not have waited in that line because Knack was probably the most disappointing thing that I saw because it was very just boilerplate. Like, Knack was the kind of game that you would get on a new game system at launch, and you would play it because it was the only game you got at launch, but it sucked. Like, that's the kind of game that we're talking about here. Very basic, and it doesn't seem to be doing anything interesting. It's, as I've already been saying, it just seems like a big glorified tech demo. Like, they built a tech demo for their particle system, and then they made this little character to put stuff onto, and they were like, you know what, we should make this into a whole game. And there were a bunch of people who were like, yeah, it'll be great. It's not great. It's fucking stupid looking. I don't like it. So that's Knack. Sorry, I don't mean to be such a bummer about it, but I didn't, there was nothing.
It's not your fault. Blame Knack.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it would be one thing like Katamari. You know, Katamari had an interesting concept and you could pick stuff up. Like, if this is a game where everything in the environment, like, you could start punching stuff, you could put a bunch of building on you and make you into a building man or something, you know, like, that could be cool. Or if there was a part where, like, later on, you're punching these ice crystals and you're making your guy not into a kind of a trash or just regular junk monster, but he's all made out of ice and stuff. But they never, like, had any tooltips or anything to tell me what exactly that did. So it just kind of seemed very boilerplate when there was a lot of opportunities there to do some interesting stuff. You know, and before I get to the last thing, I want to say I briefly walked over to Nintendo to look at Bayonetta 2, but there was a line and it was like 15 minutes before the show closed. Bayonetta 2 looks a lot like Bayonetta 1. It's very much Bayonetta jumping around, punching stuff. I can't tell what's going on with her short hair as opposed to the long hair. And when I looked at the
that was kind of the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, she had the hair suit, not that kind of hair suit, but you know, a sexy hair suit. And I kind of dug the beehive and librarian glasses thing. But so I don't know exactly what was going on there. I was also starting to kind of lose it at that point. I was just like, my feet are gone. But one thing I did notice, and I'm not sure if this is final or what, but I looked at the Wii U pad when somebody else was playing it, and all that was on that pad was what was on the screen. So it almost seems like they're just duping the screen on the pad. There might be some inputs on there, but for an E3 demo, they didn't seem to be having you use the pad an awful lot. So I don't know. Maybe it's not implemented yet. All I can say is it looks really good, and it looks like a Bayonetta game. I'm probably going to buy it. I mean, I'm probably going to get it. But finally, the last thing that I saw, I used my EA magic and I went over and saw Need for Speed Rivals because we were each required to look at one racing game while we were at E3.
Yes. I actually wanted to check out Need for Speed Rivals.
Need for Speed Rivals was badass. Like,
I did not expect you to say that.
No, I didn't expect to say it either. I mean, it was one of those things where I had the EA thing and I just went over and they let me right in. And it was actually, they did a presentation and they let me play the game. And this is one of those Windows, PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One. And this is the spiritual successor to Need for Speed High Stakes, and that it's very much being presented as a cops versus racers thing. And it's what was I looking for? They've got a feature called All Drive, right? And so what happens is when you start the game, you have this All Drive thing turned on. So you go into the game and you're playing the game, but then like, depending on how you have the multiplayer set up, like your friends may just, when they start up their game, they might just come into your game. Like now you guys are playing in the same game type of thing. Because they have a very much open world kind of aesthetic where to start a race, you just pull up to an icon where there's a race and you hit the L1 button. It's like, all right, race is starting. 3, 2, 1, go. Everybody go. And you're free to get to the finish line however you possibly can. But the cool
okay. So is there a lot of off-roading and stuff like that, that you can kind of, shortcuts and what have you?
I didn't notice very much, but I'm not really super great with racing games. So in the 10 minutes that they had me playing, I was really doing something else besides racing most of the time. And that's where the most interesting part of this comes into play is that the way that you kind of, it's a game based on score. And a lot of the way that you score in the game is that you build up this, multiplier and your points by doing stuff like winning races or taking out other racers or drifting, or they have a little laundry list that comes up on the right-hand side when you're playing the game of stuff to do to get bonus points. But when you're one of the racers, you've got this modifier that keeps ticking up. You keep getting more and more points. But you don't get those points until you bank them, until you go back to a hideout and you drive into this hideout and basically cash in your points. So when you're out in the world and you have these points, like the longer that you're out there, the faster you gain more points, but the more risky it is, because then you got the cops. And the cops make their points essentially by, if you wreck a racer, then you take all the points that person accrued. So it's always this balance between, like, the longer you stay out, the more points you're going to get. But if some other player is in your game, or even the AI cop manages to bust you, to run you down, then you lose all those points and they get them.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so it creates this weird, like, multiplayer, like, adversarial thing, which I think sounds great, because the other thing is that both of the racers and the cops, they have their normal cars with all the normal stuff in it, but then they also have these special powers that they have. And they each, the guy, so I asked him about it, and the guy said that they're working on some different ones. But like when I was playing, both the cops and the racers had the EMP, where if you roll up behind somebody and you kind of put them in this crosshair, that this little thing will lock onto them, and you can hit a button and it'll zot their car, and their screen goes all wobbly, and their car slows down and they can't see for a minute and they have to go back up. But both the cops and the racers can do that. And then each side has an individual power. Like, all the cars have nitrous on them, but the racers' cars have like a super turbo boost that gives you a really short but very fast boost in speed. Whereas the cop cars have spike traps that when you hit the button, they will lay down a spike trap that if the racers run over them will just totally fuck their cars up. So they've really tried to create these two different factions and then let you basically pick which one you want to ally yourselves with, and then give you this kind of free-form world where you can go out and drive around and you can go after each other, you know, and all the while the cops are looking for racers to bust, but then the racers are looking to race each other to get more points. And like the guy even said, the most points that you get when you're a racer is for evading a cop. Successfully evading the police gives you more points than anything else. So, once again, I think that they're being really smart with the risk versus reward system. The game looks fantastic. It's running on Frostbite. This is Ghost Games, which there used to be EA Gothenburg. Apparently, the guy said they're like DICE's sister studio. But yeah, this comes out. When the hell is this coming out? It's got to be next year, right?
Yeah.
November on the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, and Windows, and then TBA 2013 for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And to be honest, Knack was actually the last game that I played at EA, but dude, this is so much better, and I want to end on a high note. So, woo, Need for Speed Rivals. I didn't expect to like a fucking racing game as much as I did this particular game.
I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if I'm looking forward to that more or The Crew. So, yeah. There are actually two racing games I'm looking forward to now. Neither one of them is that Forza Gran Turismo shit.
So what you're saying, Jason, is that when we wrap up here, you want to go see Fast and the Furious 6, bro?
I haven't seen parts 2 through 5, so I'm very concerned that I will miss all of the nuances and, discussions of the human condition and so forth, and I might be just totally lost in what's going on in part 6.
The deep introspective parts of the Fast and the Furious storyline?
Yeah. Is it Fellini did that?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so. Well, anyway, folks, that's about it for E3 that we've got. We saw a shitload of games, Jason.
We did.
So many games. And I gotta say, I thought it was great. I thought it was a great time. Like, I'm really glad, like, we had a choice between going this year and going last year. I'm really glad that we got to go this year because there was a lot of new stuff, and I feel like I've looked into the future. Like, I could see what's gonna be in a year from now type of thing.
Yeah. Now it's, are there gonna be any surprises?
Oh yeah.
Or did we just go to Spoiler Fest?
Well, I think that it's more like somebody presenting you. They're like, "Would you like this delicious meal?" And you're like, "Oh yes, please." And like, "Here, take a bite. Tell me what it's like." You're like, "Oh, it's so good. Can I have the rest?" And they're like, "Nope, not until next year." So for me, it just makes me more excited for this stuff to come out. But yeah, I'm sure there's going to be stuff we haven't seen. I mean, dude, fucking Metal Gear. I didn't get to play Metal Gear. Metal Gear's coming out. Metal Gear 3 more times.
Oh, that was one of the announcements. It's canceled.
Shut your fucking whore mouth, Jason.
They told me. They were like, it's canceled.
Yeah.
And they were just keeping up facades and everything so that you wouldn't burn shit.
So let me get this straight. You talked directly to Hideo Kojima.
Oh, he was there. Yeah.
He told you. What's his English like? He's got like a Brooklyn accent, right?
It's kind of Oklahoma-ish.
Okay.
Yeah. Strangely enough, don't know where that came from.
Well, you know what, guys? We're going to wrap it up, but before we leave, it would be kind of shitty of us if we didn't say thanks to everyone who donated so that we can do this. We literally could not have gone and done any of this without you, the listeners. Like, you guys ponied up the dough for us to be able to fly out and do this. And you know what? If we can, I would want to I want to go back next year. I love doing this stuff.
Yeah. I am extraordinarily grateful for the opportunity, and it was all because of you guys, all of you who donated to our fundraiser back in March. So thank you, 1,000 thank yous, and hopefully we pulled through for you and made it worth your hard-earned money.
Yeah, we also have a little bit of video content that we're trying to put together. You know, there's only a few of us here, so. We're still working on that, but hopefully sometime next week we'll give you, it's not going to be, not the biggest thing in the entire universe, but we hope it's something that's going to be kind of special that you haven't seen from anybody else before. Also, I'd like to take this opportunity, we're going to talk about it a little bit more later, to thank everybody who came out to the meetup. I had a lot of fun with you guys, and I hope that a lot of you guys show up at Spill or at RTX this year for our last little hurrah with Spill.com. Also, thank you, Jason. I mean, we both worked, and I could tell you looked like you were about to fall over most of those days, but you hung in there. I'm glad to see it. So.
I'm going to need some physical therapy, but yeah, and thank you for doing all of the coordinating and everything, because I was just like, okay, I'm going to show up and do this, and I would just show up, and Jeff's like, all right, this, and this. Cab's coming at this time. We'll be here at this time. Then we go eat, then we record, and blah, 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 and then we get and do it again. And so, yeah, that's how every day worked.
Can't stop me, man. Can't stop me. All right, folks. Well, that is the end of our E3 coverage. Thank you very much. Like I said, check back next week for some video. RageSelect.com. We're going to have, so many things coming in the next, what is it, month? Are we starting up our Marvel Phase 2 now?
Yeah. Lots of stuff.
Yeah, so keep an eye out. If I were you, I maybe would make a point that if you're not going to come to RTX, to tune into our live feed, which I think we're having a live feed, aren't we? I think RTX live feeds everything.
Probably. I don't know. But even if we don't have there's not a live feed, I would say that maybe on the first day of RTX, you might want to keep an eye on either the live feed or RageSelect.com for some very special announcements. You're going to want to check this out, you guys. Until then, thank you very much, and we'll see you later.